Hello, we are live. I hope this is working. This is the first time I'm streaming across a lot of different channels right now. I'm streaming across Facebook and LinkedIn and YouTube and Twitter. And hopefully it works. So welcome. So hopefully you can hear me. If you can hear me, drop a comment, and hopefully that'll come through. And we'll get started here in a minute. Also, drop a comment and let me know who's here, where you're listening from. I have invited kind of all of my networks. So from my professional network on LinkedIn and all the people who might know me there, and Facebook, and all of my friends there, family and friends there, and Twitter, for the people who follow me there, which is not a lot yet, but so I saw someone, it just says Facebook user, and then there's a wavy hand. So if you are a Facebook user, put your name in there so I know who the comment's from, because I'm using StreamYard and it's not bringing in the names for Facebook. It does it for YouTube, I know, but it doesn't do it for Facebook. So let me know, and we'll get started in 1 minute here. Josh Curd, Josh. Good to see you on here, my friend. Okay, so Rich says that he can hear, which is awesome, and it also looks like LinkedIn does pull in the names, so that's very helpful. Okay. Well, let's get started. So I'm kind of running a little experiment here to see how this works, because I'm going to be doing more of these in the future. And so the format for this is we're going to actually get started with the content of what I'm going to be talking about. And during that time, I'm going to put the comments away and not look at them, because that will distract me. And then at the end, I'll bring them back up. So if you have any questions during this time, drop them in the comments. We'll come back to them at the end. We'll do a little Q&A at the end and have a conversation. And then part of the reason for this too is I'm going to cut the audio out in the middle, and use that to publish on the podcast, so I can give an update to everyone on the podcast as well. So all that said, if you have comments, drop them in the comments, or questions, drop them in the comments, and I will get to them at the end. All right. So I am putting away the comments, and I will get started here. So thank you, everyone, for showing up and hanging out with me. I know it has been a while. I have been off of most social media for about a year and a half. And so I wanted to give everybody an update. And as you may or may not know, in 2020, I walked away from Content Heroes and the business that I spent 3 years building. And basically what happened was, the world went into lockdown, projects started getting canceled, and I had to lay off my whole team that I was working with. And then in the middle of that, in the middle of the summer of 2020, we had baby number 3, and my son was born, and we actually had him in the apartment, which was not the plan. But with everything going on, that's how it ended up happening. And so that's a story for another time. But that was a wild ride. And I was in this place where all I wanted to do was take time off and spend time with my family and sort of cherish those moments with my newborn. And I was afraid that if I took my eye off of the ball, then we wouldn't be able to pay rent. And so it was a rough time, right? And I was so stressed out that I gained 30 pounds in about 6 months, which was crazy and not healthy. And I was feeling miserable. And so that's when I knew that I needed to make a change. And I got into this place where, when I first started my business, I became an entrepreneur to gain freedom, but now I felt trapped. And so I know that many of you probably know some of my story from before Content Heroes, but I'll share a brief version of that really quick. Basically, I was in a job that I had sort of worked my whole career for, and ended up being miserable and hating life. And so I quit to start my own business, even though I had no idea what I was doing and I had no idea what I was going to do. I just knew that I needed to make a change. And I ended up starting an agency called Indigo Digital and grew it to over 6 figures in its first year. And worked with some really great clients and did some really cool things. And part of that whole experience, I ended up starting the Content Heroes podcast. And my original objective with that was to start to attract some of my target customer so that, I could sell them my services for my agency. And as soon as I launched the podcast and I started having these amazing conversations with all of these creators, and I was within I think like 6 weeks, I was starting to interview some of my content marketing heroes and sitting down and having a conversation with them. And I was a nobody, there's no logical reason why anyone should have talked to me. But because I was putting in the work and I was putting myself out there and I was creating something, putting it out into the world, people honored that, and they sat down and had a conversation with me, and I built so many amazing relationships from that. And I realized that that's what I wanted to be doing. I wanted to be a content creator, and I wanted to build an online business around that, around Content Heroes. And so in 2020, that's the pivot that I had started to make. My plan was I was going to focus on building up Content Heroes and launching some revenue streams with that, whether it's a product or something along those lines. Is what I was working on. And I would still do the agency while I was kind of slowly transitioning. And then everything happened where all the projects got canceled and everything fell apart. And I was just, I felt stuck. I felt like I couldn't get to where I wanted to go because I had to shift all my focus back over to just trying to rebuild my pipeline and get more work coming in so that I could feed my family. And so the pandemic hit before I was ready to really make that change, and nothing that I tried really seemed to work. And I felt really stuck. And so that miserable feeling of having a job that I hated started to creep back in. But the problem was that this time, the job was one that I had created for myself. And so once again, I made the difficult decision to walk away and to find something else. And 2 things happened when I made that decision that I never anticipated. One was that I found a job that I absolutely love. And so I ended up joining the product team at Tune. Tune is a partner marketing platform that has been around for a while, was a market leader, focused on ad networks, and has pivoted over time to really empowering advertisers and affiliates or partners to work together and build relationships that are win-win. And I joined the pay team, which meant that my job literally was helping content creators get paid every day for their affiliate relationships. And it was awesome. And then within a year, I was promoted to head of product to lead the team. And and that's what I'm doing now. And so that's my day job, and I'm loving it. And the whole team is just incredible, super fun to work with, super smart people. I learn so much from them every day, and I'm still like I love that I get to be part of helping thousands of content creators and and entrepreneurs and small businesses like get paid every day from their affiliate relationships, and helping our customers also grow and build their thriving businesses. Like it's so much fun. And so it's the first time in my life that I've ever had a job that I could see myself staying at long term, which for those of you who have known me for a long time, that is really saying something, because that's something that I never thought that I would be able to say. And so that was the first thing that happened that I didn't anticipate, but it ended up being the absolute right call. And I'm in a much better place than I was before. And I'm very grateful for that. And then the second thing that was even more unexpected was that I ended up starting a new podcast that kind of revolutionized how I think about content creation. So when I joined Tune at the end of 2020, I put Content Heroes on pause. And my plan was always to pick it back up at the beginning of the year after I'd kind of had a break and was able to reset and decompress a little bit. But then a good friend of mine, Cody, he and I had this idea for a project, and it ended up really taking off. So we're both into the personality typing system called the Enneagram. He and I both happen to be the same type, which is a type 5. And we've been friends for a very, very long time. And so we had the idea to sit down and create a podcast for type 5s. That's just us sharing our lives and what it's like to be a 5. And each episode focuses on a different aspect of that. And it's not just us too. It's also, we have a community that we've built around that, and we get them to submit audio as well that we pull in. So you get each episode dives deep, but it also gets a really well-rounded perspective, because it's not just our perspectives we're bringing in. And so we're trying to create this body of work that really helps people who are 5s and feel alone or feel like they don't understand themselves. We've had so many comments and DMs and everything just reaching out to us and saying, I finally feel seen. And that's huge for us. And that's kind of what keeps us going, right? And so when we launched the Enneagram 5 podcast, within like the first week, we had sort of jumped to the top 10% of all podcasts in terms of episode downloads for the first 7 days, which is crazy. Did not expect that. And so we knew that we had something, that we had found a niche to serve that we love, that we're passionate about, and we can serve it in a very unique way that no one else is doing, and no one else can do, because we're sharing ourselves, and it's very, very much us. And there's one of the things that I love about it too is we treat it as a very creative outlet for us. And Cody is a musician, and he writes and records custom music for each episode. So it's a highly produced, every episode is highly produced, and it's a really great resource. And so that's what that taught me, that it is possible to create content in a way that is fun and sustainable and valuable. And I was completely overthinking all of it before. And so that was the second thing that really surprised me. And that's what I've been working on for the last couple of years. So I never picked Content Heroes back up, because I was focused on Enneagram 5 and my job, and that's that's why Content Heroes stopped. And so what I learned from all this is that sometimes you have to let go so you can find a better path. And so I was really attached to this idea of being an entrepreneur and the business that I had built. And when I let go of that, it allowed me enough space to have fun again and to unleash my creativity, because I was no longer operating in survival mode. And so I've been able to, and so out of that as well, I've been able to pursue other creative projects. So I've started playing music again, not anywhere out, but like, as you can see, I got a piano and I have a guitar, and I'm playing music again, just around the house. And it feels really good because it's been a decade since I had done that. And the other thing that I'm doing is I'm writing a book. And so you may have seen my post on social that last summer I wrote 50,000 words in 30 days for the initial draft of my manuscript. And it has been absolutely transformational. It's probably the hardest thing I've ever done. And it's not the writing, it's what you have to go through internally to get the words out. It has changed me fundamentally, and I'm a much better person for it. And so, all that to say, the reason why I'm bringing this up here, and the reason why I'm sharing all this with you is that, part of that process of going through and writing the book has really sort of brought something back for me that has really been sort of gnawing at my insides for a while. And that's, I really miss content heroes. I miss those conversations. I miss connecting with creators. I miss, I've been in marketing technology for over a decade, and I love the marketing side, the business side, growing an online business. All of that stuff it just fires me up, and I love helping other people with that. And so that's why I'm starting Content Heroes back up again. And the first thing that I'm doing is I have started a newsletter. And so if you haven't figured that out already, by the little banner here at the bottom, and I'll get into my strategy for this later, but I've started a weekly email newsletter. And so if you're curious about what the new Content Heroes will look like, then go subscribe. It's at contentheroes.com/newsletter. And in the first issue, I'm calling this Content Heroes Weekly. So the first issue of Content Heroes Weekly, I'm going to teach you the exact strategy that I learned from interviewing over 50 of the best like online entrepreneurs and content creators through my podcast and through the conversations that I've had since then. And so I've taken all of that and I've distilled it down into a simple 3-step strategy. And you can use it, you can steal it, and use it to drive massive audience and business growth in 2023. And so I'm going to lay out everything that I'm doing, and you can follow along. So go sign up for the newsletter at contentheroes.com/newsletter. I'll pull that up right now. You'll land on this page. Just put in your name and your email, and make sure that you confirm your email when you get the email in your inbox. And then this Sunday will be the first issue that comes out. And that's where I'll be walking through that 3-step plan that I've put together. So thanks for joining me here. I'm going to come back over now and look at the comments. If you signed up for the newsletter, drop a comment as well and just say, hey, I subscribed. Let's see here. Zach says, congrats. Sounds awesome. Thank you, Zach. I'm excited. And it looks like Facebook is pulling in the names and stuff, so that's great. Will says I'm a 9. Will is trolling me, as usual. Zach says, I was really attached to my company too. I didn't realize how close to burnout I was the whole time. Yeah, man, it was the same way. And he says, like, I do not miss the company. I miss the people I hired though. Yeah, absolutely. It was the same way for me. I didn't really fully realize how stressed out I was that whole time until I started Attune. And like that week, it was like I was finally able to decompress, and it all hit me at once. It was overwhelming. So I totally can relate to that. Okay. I'm super excited. I'm really happy that, we're doing this, that you guys are coming along for the journey. I am also going to be doing, one of these live streams every week as well, and going deeper on some other stuff that I've been learning. And that's really my main goal with all of this is, I've learned a ton, not just from Content Heroes, but also from the Enneagram 5 podcast and everything else that I've been doing for the last couple of years. And I want to share it. Like I really want to build like in public and learn out loud and share what I'm working on and the mistakes that I'm making and the experiments that I'm running and everything, and help as many people as I can do the same stuff. So thank you all. And I hope you have a great evening, and go be a hero, everyone.